You are tuned to 1700. My name is Milo, and we are here in a deli with Matty from the 1975.
Hello.
You are in Australia with the Big Day Art Tour, playing a couple of side shows around the place. Northcote Social Club last night. How'd that go?
It was wicked.
Yeah?
It was really good. It was
It's a beautiful, intimate venue.
Well, it is, and it was coming off the back of like it was the first show that we'd done apart from Big Day Out that was like our own headline show, and it was after 3 nights at Brixton Academy in the UK, which is kind of really
huge venue.
Yeah.
15,000 people, sort of thing.
That was So that's how many it was. So then to go to 300, it was really nice, and it reminded us of, I'm not to say that we kind of lost track of our identity as a band, but I think that the size of the shows became so overwhelming and so massive that it was just nice to be back, kind of with your feet on the ground, just playing to loads of people.
So you guys do like going back to do the occasional intimate show?
Well, yeah, because that's where we come from, We've only been this popular in the past 6 months. A year ago, we couldn't fit that many people into a room in Manchester.
Yeah.
And now we can't put out a show without it selling out in a day. It's ridiculous.
Awesome. That must be a good
it's
feeling.
amazing. Very flattering.
Yeah.
Very, it's humbling.
You've been gone under a few different names over the years. Is it nice to have the first album as the 1975 to go #1? Is that sort of like a bit of an affirmation that waiting to release it was probably the right idea?
Oh, it definitely was. I mean, we had a hard time when we were a band before, and we kind of had quite an easy ride as well. At the same time, it was only a kind of year period where we were getting refused by labels and stuff that started to get a bit difficult, but it is. I mean, I think we are testament to the fact that if you make music that is a genuine form of creative expression, and it's something that has enough depth and enough wealth of ideas for people to really emotionally invest in it, then it will translate. I hope. I think. And when Chocolate was in like the top 20 in the UK, even at that time we weren't signed to a major label.
Oh, right.
We just done everything just ourselves.
It's cool that you can get to that point without a label
You can. Well, you need support. We had a manager who's been with us for 7 years.
Sure.
Who's been with us when every label told us that we didn't know who we were and we were insane and this kind of thing. And he just stuck with us, and then he set up his own label to put our record out.
Brilliant.
And
that's a nice feeling, having a market made for you almost. Just
that
because,
was kind of it. Yeah.
Somebody's really seen the potential in it.
Exactly.
Is it a fun album to tour?
Yeah, very much so.
There's a lot of sort of variety. You've got some beautiful interludes in there, actually. Mainly electronica-based, I've noticed. And I like the idea of sort of splitting up an album, giving you sort of like a minute rest in between sort of complex hooks and stuff.
Yeah.
The electronica side of things, where does that come from with the band?
Our love for music is so all-encompassing and so unrestricted in regards to the way, my quote of the year is that we create in the same way that we consume, and I think that's a generational thing. We're very much a generational band, and consistent with the ideas of that creating music in the same way that you consume it, and being a victim of this kind of non-linear consumption of media. And I think that the electronic element of our band is just as relevant as the guitars are. It's just as relevant as anything. I think our love for R&B and house music and everything comes out in that album. And the interludes thing comes from a place that our music's quite cinematic. That was kind of the idea. We wanted the album to be like the soundtrack to a John Hughes film.
I get that. That's cool.
So I think that those transitions within the record are almost scene changes,
Well, going on from that sort of electronic sort of side of things, I recently listened to the James and Vincent McMorrow remix.
Oh, right.
Absolutely love it.
Thank you.
Completely unexpected from you guys. Any plans to sort of write any music as the 1975s in the future, sort of in that style?
Well, I think that style is incorporated quite heavily in the EPs. It got a bit difficult for us because we kind of became 2 bands at one point. We kind of became this very kind of R&B inspired, bedroom sounding, almost washed out band.
Yeah.
And Michael Jackson on Bad. That was like the two polarizing elements of our sound. So as the EPs went on, we started to get to more the 80s sound, and that's when we got more popular. So we're a lot more defined by that. But if you actually listen to the records with no preconception, with no idea of who we are,
sure,
there is a lot of that. And I think the next record is, I think, R&B, true R&B, from gospel to Boys to Men. That sound on this album that we're writing now is kind of what 80s pop was to the 1975.